Let's head over to the... The wait is over. You're watching All Elite Wrestling's double...
The following contest is a casino battle royale. Making his way to the ring, this is Steve! And his opponent, well, they call him the Natural, Dustin Rhodes. Next, the Redeemer, Miro. Next, Malachi Black.
And then they get the big boss man.
If you ever take a trip down to Count County, Georgia, you ready? You like his theme song? Give you a hard time.
Yeah, he had a pretty good theme song, yeah.
Good.
5 times it went with him, you know.
Okay, we're back on the air.
I mean,
We're back on the air, finally. I got this working. Hopefully for a good while.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And then you found out that Holy Anderson did pass away, the original Horseman guy, too.
Yes, he did. And you know what? I forgot to mention that. And guess what? We're gonna do the 10-bell salute. I'll be back. Let me go get my sound. Let me go get my bell.
Oh, wow. All we had to do was a shout out. We didn't have to do a bell salute.
Jose, you know we have to do the 10-bell salute anytime when a famous wrestler dies.
Yeah. Did you know that? Did you know that Luna Vachon's brother passed away too? I think it was yesterday or Friday.
Yes, he did.
The bull. What was it called? He was one of those Canadian talents or something. But he is a family of Luna Vachon. Because I think Luna Vachon had a very big family that was involved in the wrestling business and everything.
Okay, people.
I'll tell you what put.
We're back.
You know what put Luna Vachon over? Bam Bam Bigelow when he goes, hey, that's not my manager, this is my main squeeze.
But as of now, all right, I got the bell. Okay, people, let's have a moment of silence to pay tribute to Virgil, Ole Anderson, and one of the members of the Vachon family.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Rest in peace to all three of them who will be missed. And
Yeah.
well, I never really watched the Vachon family. I did watch Virgil
Yeah.
for a little bit. The Horsemen, never really watched them too much because that 1980s WCW. Like I didn't watch 80s WCW. The only thing I watched from the 80s was the WWF. I didn't really watch I only started the farthest I can go back with WCW is the early 90s, like from 1990 to 99. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, rest in peace for them, and, you know, they did pay the way. They became champions on their own occasions, and, you know.
But here's one thing I
can't duplicate these Hall of... You know, these... Well, Holly Anderson never got a Hall of Fame, neither did Virgil.
Wait.
I don't know.
He wasn't part of that Horseman Hall of Fame back in 2010?
No, it was Barry Windham instead of Holly Anderson.
Oh.
Well, the problem is with Holly Anderson, they say that a lot of people really had a problem with him.
Oh, yeah.
That he had an attitude. Vince McMahon couldn't handle him. Eric Bischoff couldn't handle him. Or Jim Crockett couldn't handle him. They say that the only person that did handle Holly Anderson was Arn Anderson.
And Lanny Poffo said a lot of junk about Ole Anderson.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, when it came to Holly Anderson, he was the worst in his part. I mean, the worst prick heel beyond MJF.
Right.
He was beyond MJF. So there is no prick dick heel, asshole heel like Holly Anderson, you know. Yeah. MJF will probably be in second place for that, but Holly Anderson's record of being a dick heel is, you know, it remains. It still stands. Because there was a story that Sepp Culture said that in Georgia, Holly Anderson had an event, and a fan decided to carve him out and ended up with 35 stitches. And professionally, Holly Anderson said that somebody was trying to whip a horse, and they whip him instead to try to make a joke out of it, you know, trying to make it professional, but they never told the truth. What caused those 35 stitches? Because a fan was trying to stab him or something. Just like they did with Dean Ambrose, and they were trying to stab John Cena. Things like that, you know.
Right. So
Holly Anderson had that beef. I don't know if you found out about that.
Yeah, I didn't really knew much about him. The only person that I heard talk about him was Lanny Poffo, the Macho Man's brother. That's the only, like, cause...
Yeah, the Savages didn't get along with the Andersons a lot either.
Yep. Okay, Brian, any thoughts on Ole Anderson?
No thoughts.
Okay, Virgil. I remember the moment when he betrayed DiBiase. After DiBiase, I think it was WrestleMania 7? Yeah, WrestleMania 7.
They wanted to give him a babyface push, yeah.
Yeah, and then Piper
was like the motivator, the encouraged guy that, you know, hey, you gotta man up, you gotta fight, you gotta stand up. So Piper was like a motivator for Virgil.
That's a good babyface.
That I don't know. I mean, the story did sell because you have Piper trying to encourage him, hey, stop being afraid, stop taking orders and bullshit like that. So that's how that story worked out, you know.
Right. And Virgil, and when after DiBiase cuts a promo after the match, he said everybody's got a price, and then Virgil hit him with the $1 million title, and then Virgil became the $1 million champion.
Meaning that DiBiase and Virgil finished the story of beating up the Rhodes family, Dusty and Dustin.
Right.
I beat you, Dusty, and that punk kid of yours, Dustin. He goes, Cody, if you're looking back, your brother and your dad, they did finish the story with DiBiase.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Their story was finished, you know.
And any thoughts on Virgil, Brian?
No.
Or Vincent?
No memories? Even when he was in the NWO, when he was with DiBiase, or...
I wasn't a real big Virgil fan. Virgil, to me, was just a bodyguard for DiBiase. That's all he was.
That is true.
He's not a Hall of Famer. There's really not much to talk about Virgil. I mean, of course, you know, it's a sad situation, but there's really nothing to talk about Virgil because he was a bodyguard. So.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah, only WWE gave him the whole bodyguard thing, but when he was in the independent or with Jim Crockett, it was a lot different that they put him as a talent because they end up calling him Soul Train Jones in Jim Crockett production.
In the Jim Crockett, he was Soul Train Jones.
Soul Train Jones, yeah.
He used to come out dressed up as Uncle Sam, and he was. Why couldn't he use that in the WWF? After he broke up from DiBiase, I wish they could have let him use that in the WWF. But of course, Vince doesn't like.
This is like before.
Yeah.
This is before Flash Funk. You know, this is like. I think Flash Funk was trying to duplicate a Soul Train Jones, you know, in the WWE. Because remember, Flash Funk had that dancing disco thing.
That was stupid.
In the Monday Night Wars. You know,
really?
That's why he couldn't use Scorpio.
No, it's Too Cold Scorpio. Not Scorpio Sky. Too Cold Scorpio. He was in ECW and WCW. He was actually good in ECW.
Vince didn't like it, so he goes, no, but you can have it, you know. So
right,
we go, cool. Good thing he told him, you're not hurting my feelings. I get to keep my trademark, you know.
And wasn't Virgil part of a Survivor Series team? It was him, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, and don't tell me, British Bulldog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
It was against Team Flair.
Right, and he that was probably the best thing he's ever been a part of in his career, and that $1 million title, at least he got a chance to hold it, because I love the $1 million title, and I'm gonna get it for my collection. So yeah. So Virgil, he was just a bodyguard, and he was part of the NWO and WCW. I didn't really watch a lot of his matches in WCW. I did see most of it in WWF. Remember when he fought Giant Gonzalez on Superstars?
Yeah, he was a jobber.
Yeah,
in the Survivor Series, remember, he was a jobber for the Yokozuna's debut.
Yes, he was.
In SummerSlam, he was a jobber when he debuted against Nails in SummerSlam in England.
Yeah, and
so he jobbed at the Nails and Yokozuna, you know.
But didn't he fought DiBiase? Like, didn't he fight?
Yeah, he did fight DiBiase in WrestleMania 7, you know, of course.
That's it, yeah.
You know, win that. And the good news that I did like about Virgil, he did screwed up a debut from Monster Heel, which was Bastion Booger. Bastion Booger was supposed to make his first debut in Superstars of Wrestling, and guess what? Virgil beats him on his debut.
Yeah. And he also fought Diesel on Raw. He fought Doink the Clown on Superstars. He also fought who else did he fought Bret Hart in '92. He fought Texas Tornado at a Madison Square Garden show. So those are the only matches I've seen from
And he had a broken nose against Psycho Sid.
Whoa.
Before WrestleMania 8 in a go-home show.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you saw Virgil with the nose mask in WrestleMania 8, because Psycho Sid broke his nose, so Virgil sold it by putting a mask on.
Right, just like how the Undertaker sold the King Mabel. Well, he didn't actually sell it.
Yeah,
he actually broke his.
Or either the way how Cody. Remember, Cody had a mask too.
Yeah. Right.
So they try to do similarities, you know, like the way Virgil started with a mask, then you had Cody, then you had Undertaker adding mask. So that's how that little sold gimmick turned out.
Right. All right. Well, we're done talking about Ole Anderson and Virgil. I don't know much about Vachon. But let's get into Sting. Sting's retirement match. All of us thought that Sting was going to lose, but I'm happy that Sting won. And I kind of wanted Sting to win and then vacate the tag titles and then call it a career.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't like the thought of putting the AEW tag titles on him, but I'm glad AEW did it because, you know, it's Sting, you know. You got to love Sting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they built it pretty good. But like I said, I think for the situations of the Young Bucks, if they're going to be in this whole tag team division, this is the time for the Young Bucks to act as prick heels, plant the seeds, give importance to the tag team champions, and give importance to the tag team division. If this is their plan of building a tag team division, and I hope, like the way Broken Matt calls them, the Bucks of Youth decides to build the division.
Right. Brian.
Because. Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about Sting. We know that you and me thought that Sting was gonna lose, and what did you think about him winning the AEW tag titles? I know, but my viewers don't know. But tell them what you think.
No need to really win him. I mean, he was really known as just a singles competitor in good matches against Ric Flair and guys like Steamboat, so on and so forth. So I wasn't really too enthused about him becoming a tag team champion, honestly.
Right.
And the question I want to ask Brian and I want to ask Miguel, do you think for them rewarding Sting with a tag team belt, was it considered more like a consolation prize or a retirement gift? Was that an idea of Tony Khan just to give him a belt to leave, with some gold around his retirement? Did anything like that would mean that, guys?
Take it away.
Anybody want to answer that one?
You go first, B.
Yeah, I think it was, honestly. I think it was just a way to say thank you, Sting, and now he's retired now, and he's moving on with his life. So, yeah, I think it was just a little farewell goodbye gift.
Yeah, I agree. And, okay, well, he started his career in the NWA before he began WCW, and I believe his very first feud was Ric Flair for the NWA title. Because I don't know if you guys have seen that match with him and Ric Flair. NWA, you remember the part where he gets Flair gets Sting in the figure 4-way, then he does like this shit doesn't hurt, I'm crazy now. Remember that?
It was the time when Sting had the Bart Simpson haircut and then the colorful paint before he became
the surfer
the Brandon Lee dark, trench coat Sting,
The surfer Sting.
And this is when the Monday Night Wars began, then where he started using that gimmick.
Yep. And then my favorite match from Sting and Flair, I've seen most of them. The one that I enjoyed was Bash at the Great American Bash, 1991, when Sting won the WCW title from Ric Flair. Everybody was at ringside, the heels and the baby faces, but when Sting won the belt by a roll-up, all the baby faces went in. Junkyard Dog was there. They were all like celebrating with Sting,
celebrating. Yeah,
I think that was Sting's first WCW champion win, right? That was Great American Bash 91?
Great American Bash, because remember in 1998, I think it's Stargate is when he defeated Hogan.
That was 97.
When the NWO took 97, 97, when I think Sting was off for a year, and then he main evented it against Hulk Hogan and took away the NWO heavyweight champion or something, which Hulk Hogan started spray painting it around.
Right.
That was another celebration too. But it was not only a babyface celebration, it was a heel celebration, so all the babyfaces and heels were at that ring,
Right.
Because, like, saying the NWO were, like, the common enemy faction,
Mm-hmm.
And no allies. I mean, it was just them. They attacked the baby faces and they attacked the heels, you know.
And, of course, we remember his matches with Vader. Vader actually beat him for the WCW World Champion. I think that was Vader's first WCW title win. If you guys remember
Vader
that.
said he did enjoy working with Sting. When he was alive, he was saying some good things about him. He did enjoy working with him.
Yeah.
And honestly, Sting did like Vader because Vader was not this monster, big heavyweight heel that it would intimidate you. He would move, like a cruiserweight doing moonsaults.
Right.
A man in his weight, a 300-pound, doing a moonsault like a cruiserweight. That made Vader look good, dude. Almost like Bam Bam. Bam Bam moved around too when you would wrestle Bam Bam.
Yeah. All right, B. Any memories of Sting versus Vader feud?
No, not really. Listen, every match that Sting fought was great. There's really no reason to break down everything. We just know at this point Sting had a great career, and that's that.
Right, but I want to go into. I know that, but it's just that I want to go into memories, like.
Well, there's no. The only thing that you have to remember is that Sting had a great career when he was a wrestler. That's all you got to remember.
Yeah.
Because if you break down everything, there's too many things to break down. Sting was a Hall of Famer, a legendary wrestler, and an icon. I mean, 1,000 matches, Sting was just the guy. That's it. That's all you really got to worry about at that point.
Yeah. Are you getting a sore throat, B?
No, I got it. I had a good time at the live show yesterday. So.
Oh, okay.
A lot of cheering, a lot of booing, and everything. Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, and Vader, and then it's funny that Vader won the belt from Sting, then he lost the belt a week before, and then he lost it to Ron Simmons. I don't understand that. Why did they put the belt on Vader? They built up all this dominance, and all of a sudden a week later you lose to Ron Simmons.
They wanted to build history on that one.
Oh,
which
by
is
making him,
kind of sucked a little.
Yeah, by making him
because
the
for
first
the record,
black guy to win the WCW World Champion. It's understandable.
Yeah. So they pushed it real quickly on that one anyway.
Yeah.
You know, not saying anything against Ron Simmons, but the bookers, I think they always do that mistake when they see, a black talent, male or female, okay, let's give it to them so we won't be discriminating, Just kind of sounds a little ignorant of, of the bookers kind of like saying those kind of things, because...
Yeah. And Sting did get his win back from Vader. I think it was from Starrcade '92. I think that's when they had a match. And that's how Sting. That's how. Well, they had to let Sting beat Vader to build him back up. So it was smart on WCW's part to do that. And then So, and what else can we talk about with Sting?
And here's the thing: a lot of people didn't listen to me with when I was telling people that Isaiah Swerve was not going to win the world champion against Samoa Joe. If he did, if Isaiah Swerve was successful at this event, his victory would have been disregarded because knowing that this was Sting's night. So it was better to have Joe to remain, give it to Joe, extend it a bit. But honestly, I feel like AEW is really accelerating to have Isaiah Swerve to win quickly.
It's just
I don't know. If you accelerate it, I feel like he's going to be lost in the shuffle. And I think I would have preferred for him to lose so that way, in some clean event, then you could acknowledge him, then you can hear him and try to put him over. Yeah. But with so much going on at this event, the whole Sting thing, they didn't want to ruin it,
Right, and then it's just that seeing Joe as world champion in AEW was just weird for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's good. Yeah.
He really doesn't need to win a world champion anywhere else he goes. I mean, he's already done that in TNA. And I wanted to see him win the WWE champion, but injuries, he kept getting injured. And he had mostly the U.S. title, which I think he could have won the WWE champion. I would have loved to see that, especially me always being a fan of him when he was in TNA. He was a TNA World Champion. It would have been cool to have the WWE Champion, but it's cool to have the AEW Champion in your resume, like because he's already been World Champion in 2 companies now. But the AEW
and honestly, well, him and MJF did have stories in that NXT entrance, so
yes, they did.
They tried to build a story on that one, when Samoa Joe made an entrance and then he pushed MJF as one of the security staffs and everything. So I think it was very smart for them to build a story ever since that incident, All
right, Brian, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, Jose. I disagree with you completely, and here's why. Sting's thing would have nothing to do with Swerve Scott winning a championship tonight at all. It's got nothing to do with it. Sting was going to go out, win or loss, doesn't matter. Yes, it was about Sting, but that had nothing to do with the fact that Swerve Scott winning a championship at all. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Right. And, people, and as you know, I also have this Sting DVD.
And you should know as a wrestling fan that regardless of the fact, if you win a championship, you're winning it not because of Sting's last match. Sting was going to retire no matter what, win or loss. It wouldn't have mattered.
But when the matches are built, Brian, in WWE or AEW or in any event, you're booking,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sting was going to walk out, win or loss. The focus was not even about Sting that much, but it had nothing to do with the fact that Swerve could win a title. It doesn't. No.
Okay, let me give you one example. Remember when we saw the Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker and broke the record, right?
Okay.
The match was very hyping up.
Right.
But the point that I'm trying to get to is like when you have one match event, and let's say that after the Brock Lesnar and Taker match ended, when the streak was broken, you end up putting, let's say, the Divas match, which was after it. When I saw that match, it started like exhausting the fans, and then it turned into a bathroom break. So I was afraid if the Swerve match would have been like that, you would have a hyper with a Sting match. Wouldn't that exhaust the fans if we see the world champion match right there?
No. They would have been happy for Swerve Scott to be a champion because they knew Sting was going to go out, win or loss. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And this is my first time watching AEW for a year now. Since a whole year now. I don't know.
Yeah. No, because it's always with the same thing that they're doing. I mean, you can watch it as it is, but it's like I always say to Tony Khan: stop being a friend and start being leader, and hire yourself some bookers to help you out with this organization, man. Really, because this is not about that. The fans are not bashing AEW or WWE. You just want both companies to do better. That's what it's about.
Agreed. Like, I don't like this little competition going on between WWE and AEW. I honestly don't want. I don't want the AEW to be like WCW. I really don't want that.
Yeah, that's how the talks are going like that. And if Tony Khan doesn't listen to that and wake up, his company's going to be gone.
Right. Because Eric Bischoff basically did the same thing. Because this is what Conan and Disco Inferno said. That Bischoff didn't really have the leadership like how Tony Khan is not having. Like, he let the guys do whatever they want. Tony Khan lets them not show up to work whenever they want. Tony Khan doesn't like tell them to stop doing this, stop doing that, or don't do this, or have a control of the locker room if the wrestlers get into a fight or whatever. Bischoff was like that as well. Now Tony Khan is starting to be like that. Yeah,
it's like the issue is the inmates are running the asylum.
Right.
It's not going to look good on him. And honestly, I hear that Miro's contract is going to be expired. I would not be surprised if he pulls out.
Please go to TNA. Go to TNA. Don't go to WWE. Go to TNA.
There's NWA too, so NWA is good too. You can beat up EC3. He's still the champion.
NWA wouldn't be a bad fit. I mean, but go to TNA. Yeah. I want to see Miro in TNA.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the point that Tony Khan should really get off it. Because, okay, since we know it's a done deal with him and Mercedes Moné, I want him to book Mercedes Moné as he's supposed to as a women's division. But I don't want him to go to Paul Levesque or WWE or The Rock or anybody and tell them, hey, I got your girl. Because that's you just being immature.
And and Miro would be a good will have a good feud against Moose. And he would definitely have a great match against Moose in TNA for the TNA World Champion, but of course I wouldn't want Miro to beat Moose.
Yeah. Like I said, Miro, I think Moose is only testing the waters to see how Tommy Dreamer runs the show. And I think I agree with you when you and I discuss about that. You want to test the waters before you judge Tommy Dreamer, Don't get me wrong, I like Tommy Dreamer, but I can't picture him as a booker,
I mean, the last two shows, he's been doing a good job. It's just that the first show without Scott D'Amore, that was a horrible show.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of like still driving everybody crazy, the loss of Scott D'Amore and how much they felt about him and how comfortable they felt working with him.
Right.
Tommy Dreamer should just stick to his guns and be like an athlete, man. You're out there to win. You're out there to do the business to do better,
Right.
And Anthem, as far as I'm concerned, if you are going on a budget or anything, just sell the company. The fuck, Anthem? Really?
Yeah, just sell the company to Demore. Demore knows what to do with it, and Demore wanted to buy the company, but I think they got offended by that and fucking...
They wanted to fire him. It's like, no, they already fired him, but still.
And he wanted to bring in more wrestlers, too. He wanted to bring in Braun Strowman. He wanted to bring in... Well, he did a good job for bringing in Trinity, the Iconics.
Trinity, yeah.
Gallows and Anderson.
Yep.
Who else? Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler. Mustafa Ali. He's a genius. And if WWE, like you said, picks him up, he'll be a great replacement for Bruce Pritchard, and I know Brian's going to approve that.
Well, I've been hearing that I think Bruce Pritchard is going to retire. Because I've been hearing news with the allegations.
I can hear Brian right now.
And I'm going to say this. Anybody that's a Vince McMahon guy, you better start talking. And you got nothing to hide.
Brian?
Now, as far as the victims go, you're going to press charges against these corporate people, file it. But you better see to it that you have ammunition and good attorneys to represent you. Because the first thing I know about courts, I've been a juror, I've been a defendant, I even testify as a witness, and I've been a plaintiff. The first thing that the courts are going to start will be settlements. Right now, you're only guilty to proven innocent. You're only innocent to proven guilty. That's what you are right now. And that's why some people have to calm down. Nothing has started. Nothing's taken place. Yes, people are speaking up, but all I got to say, you want to press charges against Vince? File it. That's all you need to do.
Well, Brian, any thoughts?
Not trying to get political with you, Brian, because I know how you feel about it, but this is what's happening right now.
Brian.
And honestly, I'm going to be busy all this week, Miguel, because it's election thing, and I'm going to be doing campaigns, so I'm going to put the wrestling aside right now for everybody. I'm going to do some campaigning in elections doing my corporate thing, so I'll be missing in action.
All right. Brian?
Leave it to me, guys. I'm not going to share it with you. Yeah. No offense.
Brian, you there?
I don't really give a shit about politics, so who cares?
Yeah, me
They're
neither.
all a bunch of bullshitters, fake-ass people who lie to us and tell us the same bullshit. So I don't give a fuck about politics.
Me neither.
Because they're all two-faced fucking liars who try to tell us the country's going to be good, and it's all a bunch of bullshit. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. Next.
Honestly, Jose, you shouldn't waste your time on that, but you do whatever you want at the end of the day. I mean, you can do whatever you want at the end of the day, but me and Brian, we're not going to waste our time with that bullshit because I think politics is stupid, honestly.
They're just crooks, period.
Yeah, and if anybody on here hears me say that come from my mouth, please, if you don't like what you're hearing, please press that unsubscribe button because I'm not into politics because I had to own some politicians out here that were getting all ass hurt because I wasn't voting for anybody.
Yeah.
I had to get on their ass about it. So if you're an ass about it, and anybody else watching this, please don't press that unsubscribe button.
And honestly,
understand this is a wrestling podcast,
Vince, I'm going to say something about this. Vince is guilty because he has gotten so much shit against him. They have proof of it. He's already been filed. He's already going through the court process. Vince screwed himself big time. Why do you think TKO got rid of him? Because they know the charges against him are there. I've been on jury duty. I know what it's about. Vince McMahon got himself in trouble because he couldn't keep his freaking dick in his pants, and he knows it, and the proof is all there. Now, I'm not going to say he's a rapist because but again, that is strictly up to the people who are dealing with his problem. So at the end of the day, you know what? Whoever was a part of it is going down with him. Just ask John Laurinaitis. If it's Pritchard, fine. But these guys are going to pay the consequences for their mistakes because they don't know how to think with their brain. They think with what's down below. That's the bottom line.
Right. And so anyways, I know I wanted this live to be about Sting. Well, I want to get back into the Sting discussion because, you know, I love Sting.
Yeah.
TNA years. Any memories of TNA matches that you guys want to throw in?
I remember when the paparazzis were chasing Sting, you know, walking his kids and playing baseball with it, and then Sting caught them and shit. It's like, what are you doing here? Filming me? Filming my family?
I think that was Alex Shelley.
Jeff Jarrett storyline, remember?
I think that was Alex Shelley that was filming that.
Yeah, he used Alex Shelley to, you know, scoping around when Sting is in the park, spending time with his kids, playing football with them, going to the store.
Yeah.
That was a storyline right there.
Yes, it was. And Sting, I mean, Jeff, his match, that was Sting's first storyline in TNA. Is the one with, that was my first Bound for Glory that I ever watched, and bros, that's one of my favorite Sting matches of all time. That TNA Bound for Glory one. And another one that I enjoyed was remember his feud with the Monster Abyss?
Yeah.
Remember the prison yard match? It was
oh yeah.
It was damn, what pay-per-view it was. It was Against All Odds 2007. And the prison yard match, that was a great match by both Sting and Abyss. And another favorite match was Destination X. Remember the casket match with him and Abyss?
Yeah.
And it was a bloody match. That was a fun match to watch. So Sting
he put the Abyss over.
Yeah, and Sting is a 4-time TNA World Champion. He's a 1-time tag champion. He actually won the tag titles with Kurt Angle. And he's had some tag teams over the years. Like, he teamed up with Lex Luger. He teamed up with Kevin Nash. He teamed
Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, but the Main Event Mafia, the only people that won the tag belts was Booker T and Scott Steiner. And it's just that...
Yeah.
And... yeah, so Sting had won some tag team gold with people. He won it with Lex Luger. He won it with Kevin Nash. He won it with Kurt Angle in TNA. So it was he also had so yeah, Sting was not only just a great singles wrestler. He could actually team up with anybody.
Yeah, with Darby Allin, his thing is probably like, you know, passing the torch with him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's almost like if he's going to continue the legacy of, you know, of Sting or something. Similar, but not identical, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what Darby Allin definitely goes from here, you know.
Oh, he'll do fine. He'll do fine.
You know.
I mean, Darby Allin, he's a great wrestler. He can work. He can wrestle. He knows how to... He's fucking insane as well because... all those high-flying moves he does, that's what makes him amazing. And his personality with the face paint and the skateboard, all that is actually interesting to watch. So, yeah, I really
that's
like
a Darby Allin thing right there.
Yeah, so Darby Allin will do fine. And he's probably going to win another TNT champion, which I don't mind him ever winning a TNT champion because he actually gave that belt some importance.
Yeah, I think I think as far as Darby Allin will go, but probably, if I'm mistaken, maybe for the mid-card division.
Or in case of AEW.
I mean, like you say, starting TNT. Yeah.
Or in case of AEW.
Well, tag team he could. Well, or tag team, you know, I mean, he's experienced that.
Yeah. Or if AEW stays around for a few more years, maybe he might win the world champion because I never thought TNA was going to give Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley the TNA world champion, but they did.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, Darby Allin did have a good main event feud with MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Jack Perry, you know, even though that it was too soon to push these young guys in there. But that four-way young feud, that kind of like really was a very good start, you know, having a good main event feel for those four guys, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Now I'm watching Jack Perry in New Japan now.
Yeah, so he's no longer in AEW now.
No, he didn't reassign. So now he's New Japan, going for the light divisions, and
yeah,
I think he's gonna probably try to take away the TV champion from Matt Riddle. But I don't think that's not gonna happen. Matt Riddle's too good, man.
Yeah, he is. He's way better. He's way more advanced than Jungle Boy.
Oh yeah, bro.
And did you guys like Jungle Boy's heel run in AEW? I heard it was terrible.
He was more as a babyface wise. I don't think the heel. He needs to work on that heel, man. Really.
Mhm. So yeah, and going back to Sting, and he actually became a Four Horseman for a little bit in the late '80s, because you know that storyline with him and the Horseman.
Yeah, I will go on record. As much as I love Sting, but he does not look like a Horseman material. That's what I have to say about Sting.
What do you think about What do you think about Sting and the Four Horsemen, Brian?
It was fun. I liked him better as the NWO Wolfpack.
Oh, absolutely. When that red face paint, was really over when he was at the red face paint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He only joined it because of the benefit of Luger. He did it for Luger.
Yeah. And the Crow gimmick, I think you know how that storyline started? Everyone thought that Sting was on NWO's side. Like he was trying to be like an undercover type person, and then people were starting pointing hands at Sting.
Enigma.
What happened?
He played the Enigma to make it, mysterious.
Right.
To give everybody clues, to keep people guessing. So it was very good of him to play the Enigma character to just make people guess,
Right. And it's just that, and he had and then the Crow came out for on Nitro, and then he was up in the Raptors for a whole year, and then they finally set up then he was fighting off the NWO every night on Nitro. He was the company's savior, and he then that was a big setup for his match with him and Hogan at Starrcade '97. And I'm not gonna lie, that match was not good. The storyline, everything was good. It's just the match itself. Remember that part where Nick Anderson botched the pin? He was supposed to do a fast count, but he did like a regular count. And then Bret Hart comes in, and Sting barely had any offense in that match. Hogan was kicking his ass throughout that whole match.
So he just quickly did a scorpion and made Hogan tap out,
Yeah, and then Bret Hart replaced the referee, and Sting forgot his cue to kick out of that pin, because you can't really blame the referee for that. That was actually Sting's fault for not kicking out on time like he was supposed to. But yeah. So that was
so those are the Stinger moments.
Yep, and then wins the WCW title from Hogan. And Sting is one of the very few people that ever beat Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And then they actually had another match at Bound for Glory 2011.
That was a horrible match.
Yeah, it was. I mean, why are you putting Hogan in the ring back in 2011?
Yeah. Well, see, this is what I don't understand about wrestling bookers, and this not only happens in WWE or either in AEW or in WCW. Mean Gene said, remember WrestleMania 6 when it was the Ultimate Challenge, Hogan and the Warrior?
Mm-hmm.
He says when you make a match like that, you can duplicate a match like that 10 years later, because it's not going to be the same. You remember Halloween Havoc?
Oh.
The Ultimate Challenge there. That was a horrible match. Should have stayed. That feud should have stayed at WrestleMania 6. Didn't need a rematch. Did not need to go anywhere like that.
Well,
or here's another one.
I wouldn't mind seeing it again. It's just that Warrior even said in an interview that Hogan didn't put no effort into this match. This is what Ultimate Warrior said. He said Hogan didn't want to put no effort in his match, and he didn't. And you know how Hogan really doesn't like to lose a lot. The only reason why he brought Warrior in was because he wanted to get his win back from that WrestleMania 6 loss.
Yeah.
That's what Ultimate Warrior said.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why he went to WCW.
But they should have built it too. I mean, they should have planted their seeds and capitalize that rematch to give it a meaning, and then have a good match with it and have an extra 10-minute match, to complete your story, And
it was fucked up how remember that Hogan was supposed to throw a fireball on Warrior's eye. The fireball went out right before he threw the ball at Warrior.
Yeah, and Hogan, and once I saw that match, Hogan made it very obvious.
Yeah.
If you look at it, if you look at it back, that match was so obvious. You can look what Hogan was trying to do.
Yeah. What did you think of that match, Brian? Halloween Havoc 98, Warrior versus Hogan.
Good match. Very good match.
The Halloween Havoc one, not WrestleMania 6.
Not WrestleMania 6, the Halloween Havoc rematch.
The WrestleMania match was outstanding, but the Halloween Havoc
passing
one?
of the torch.
The Halloween Havoc one was horrible.
I mean, every match that Hogan and Warrior fought was great, guys. What's wrong with you guys? Come on. It's pro wrestling. Give me a break. Hogan and Warrior always put on good matches. It was, regardless. Every match that Hogan fought in was a good match. You know, what's the difference? Didn't matter.
So you're saying everyone in the wrestling business had all their matches were great?
You're talking about Hulk Hogan and Warrior. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, but we're talking about the Halloween Havoc one, not WrestleMania 6.
I
WrestleMania
understand
6.
that, but every match that Warrior and Hogan have fought was a good match. I'm sorry, it's involving Hulk Hogan and Warrior, one of the two greatest wrestlers of all time. How could it not be a good match?
Okay, you have Peacock. I want you to tomorrow, since you're on vacation, I want you to watch that match, Hogan and Warrior, and look how horrible it was.
Okay.
I need you to watch that. Everybody had terrible matches. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes other shit happens.
So the bookers, or however they're capitalized. I mean, this is not the only first and the only match that has had. In the Tokyo Dome, the rematch for them. Okay, first it was New Japan, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Match was good. Kenny Omega won. Then they both go to AEW. They didn't do it in an all-in match, and the match was horrible.
The all-in match wasn't horrible. It was all right. It wasn't horrible.
The rematch with Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, it was not the same. If you looked at the New Japan one, and then you look at that all-in, you'll see the difference. Almost similar that the way you're talking about WrestleMania 6 and Halloween Havoc with Hogan.
Yeah.
The Jericho and Kenny Omega had a similarity there, and it was too predictable that Jericho had to get his win back.
Yeah. And here's another horrible match from Sting. It was Victory Road 2011. This wasn't Sting's fault, though. It was Victory Road 2011. Jeff Hardy versus Sting for the TNA World Champion. Jeff Hardy comes in high. He's high and drunk during this whole match. And I think it was just a few punches, a Scorpion Death Drop, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that match was horrible.
Yeah. I think the Hardys should start retiring now because, I mean, they're really taking too many hits, you know. I really don't feel like they have enough in the tank to continue performing, you know.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to prove. I mean, this is not 30 years ago when you used to do a TLC match and bang yourselves. I mean, come on. When I saw Jeff Hardy against Darby Allin, I thought Jeff was done when he tried to do that swanton on that table, man.
Yeah, and then
I know that was a dream match, but dude, Jeff did not necessarily need to go that far, man.
Well, Sting and Jeff Hardy did had a great match on TNA on regular TV, on regular TNA TV. They actually had a good match on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you know, I just feel like the Hardys have nothing to prove. They can just forget about being AEW Tag Team Champions.
They need to retire in WWE. I really hope it happens.
Yeah. Well, I hear their contracts are going to be up next year. Well, it's going to be extended because of injuries and then their rehab. So, you know how contract freezes happen when you are injured. You know, they freeze them up and it gets extended a bit. You know.
Right, and yeah, and it's just that, and also another thing I wanted to mention about Sting. Were you a fan of his 2000 WCW run?
Oh, I always liked him with the Bart Simpson haircut.
The Surfer Sting.
Yeah.
But as far as the Crow Sting, you were like meh, or did you like it, or did you love it?
The only Sting that I loved the most when he became the Crow, the black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I saw him with the colorful Sting and the Bart Simpson haircut, as Bobby Heenan calls it, he was just like a typical babyface. He wasn't like when Hulk Hogan was on the top of his game right there. Because you had Sting representing Jim Crockett, and then you had Hulk Hogan representing Vince McMahon. And I think from comparing from those two baby faces, Hogan was at the top of his game more than Sting. Yeah, Sting won championships. Sting was good. Happy for him. But it seems like right here, Hulk Hogan moved the needle more up than Sting did.
Yeah. So yep, and
this is like a before a Monday Night War and before all this and that. This is, McMahon versus Crockett,
And I did not like Sting as a heel in WCW or TNA.
Oh yeah.
Brian?
Heels don't really go for Sting a lot. I don't know. I find out, I mean, there's always that saying that who is meant to be babyface and who is meant to be heel, but
Brian,
I would say
what did you
Sting is not a heel material.
Right. Brian, what do you think about Sting as a heel?
Horrible.
Yeah, he was a horrible heel.
He was. Everybody liked Sting as a baby face. Yeah, he wasn't cutting it as a heel actually. Yeah.
Because I remember how he turned heel. Like, he came out, it was a match between, I think it was a segment or a match between Hulk Hogan and Lex Luger. And they were both fighting off. Sting came out and Hogan thought he was going to use the bat on Luger, but Sting used the bat on Hogan instead. That's how he turned heel. And then his heels in both TNA and WCW were bad. And they, even in matches, he wasn't doing anything to get the crowd to boo him. Like, he didn't do any, like, holding the ropes on somebody and putting someone in a hold for very long while ignoring the referee or telling the fans to shut up or whatever. It's just that he didn't really do nothing for the people to boo him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on Sting as a heel. And
yeah.
Yeah.
So then, when it comes to talents, they have to know what's meant for them and what makes them feel comfortable. Because I think in meet and greets, I always ask them what turns them on when they go in the ring and perform, and what makes them feel more comfortable to put themselves over, heels or baby faces, But I'm feeling like the heels prevail a lot because they get a lot of good love heat, It's like, say, for example, with Shawn Michaels, they boo him because they love to hate him. But they like him, but they enjoy booing him,
Right.
And then the booing him feeds it,
What did you...
And it goes well with them.
Yeah. What did you think about Joker Sting from TNA? When he was the Joker.
I just found it fun.
Yeah, it was funny.
I found it funny.
Yeah, he was doing something
It only
new.
entertained me. That gimmick entertained me.
Yeah.
It's like it felt like they didn't have anything for him, dude, because you had the main event Mafia trying to be an NWO 2.0 right there,
Kind of. And
I mean, nothing against Scott and Booker and all these guys, but I'm glad that Main Event Mafia did not last that long, and that was cut very short,
I mean, them in the Main Event Mafia. I mean, I love the Main Event Mafia. And Sting wasn't on there for long. And I remember that whole storyline. Like, Kurt was trying to make Sting vacate the TNA World Champion just to give it to Kurt. But Sting didn't want to do that because he didn't want to kiss Kurt's ass. And they had a few one-on-one matches. Like, they had one at Destination X. And and Sting won that match. Well, before that pay-per-view,
Yeah.
they had a Fatal 4-Way at Against All Odds against Team 3D. And it was weird to see Bubba and Devon go after a world champion. I don't know how they got... I don't know what the creator was thinking about putting Bubba and Devon in a Fatal 4-Way with Sting and Kurt Angle for the TNA World Champion.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And then that's what happened. So that's why he got kicked out. And then Main Event Mafia was having meetings where they were without Sting, and it was mostly Kurt that was trying to start a beef with Sting.
Run the show more. Yeah.
Yeah, it was mostly Kurt. The whole Main Event Mafia, they kind of didn't want the whole faction to break up, but it did anyways. And once Matt Morgan joined the team, once Samoa Joe joined the Main Event Mafia, that's when Sting got kicked out, when Samoa Joe became a part of the Main Event Mafia. Sting got kicked out.
You lose one, you get one.
And then
Lose one, get one.
yeah, and Sting didn't like the six-sided ring in TNA.
No, he was saying, yeah, not every. It was like so for some people, and the other part didn't agree with it. But I think Hogan didn't like it, obviously. So they definitely put it into a regular ring.
Both Eric Bischoff and Hogan didn't like it, and I was pissed off when they changed the six-sided ring to four-sided.
So they took it off, yeah.
Because that six-sided ring really symbolized TNA, and it made TNA different from everybody. And
yeah,
a lot of wrestlers say that six-sided ring is very stiff. That's why a lot of people don't really like it. So, but I love the six-sided ring. If I had a wrestling company, the six-sided ring would be my ring.
Vince liked it. AJ liked it.
Yeah.
Saban liked it.
Yes, he did.
Christopher Daniels liked it. You know, Storm liked it.
Jeff Jarrett liked it.
Bobby
He got the
had
idea
no
from
problem with
Mexico.
it, you know.
Provided by that man like this.
And it's just, yeah, Sting hated the six-sided ring, but it is what it is, you know. I mean, yes, so
They're used to the square circle.
yeah, they're used to the square circle for all these years. And what else can I say about Sting? Any thoughts more on Sting?
Well, at least he got a Hall of Fame for WWE, which...
And TNA. He was a Hall of Famer for TNA.
Yeah, TNA. Lex Luger was the right person that inducted him. And speaking of Hall of Fame, I hear they might put Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame. And since Sting is no longer AEW, they say that probably Sting might be the worthy guy to induct him. If that is decided, it's just being talked about, but, you know.
And I believe...
We'll see what Triple H works out on this one.
Yeah, and I believe Sting got inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame by Kurt Angle. If I'm not mistaken.
So...
And...
we'll see what happens about if the whole Luger thing and Sting is official for the Hall of Fame thing.
And
but
I think
right now it's just being talked, but right now Paul Levesque has not decided how to like build that up yet.
And I mean,
they're running out of time.
Right. And I think that the WWE is going to receive backlash from that Lex Luger Hall of Fame induction because of the crap with Miss Elizabeth. And
resolve that, because if he can resolve like the way it happened with the whole Bruno Sammartino incident, I think he can definitely resolve this one.
well,
And he ended up bending the knee for Kurt Angle too, so you know, Paul Levesque has been very popular bending the knee around, so it should not be any problem, man. And nobody's out there to be rubbing any feathers with each other, you know. Unless it's some idiot's gonna instigate some bullshit, then yeah, you're fucked, you know.
yeah.
I tell people you don't have to be a Triple H fan or a Luger fan for it.
Right.
You know, by the end of the day, someone's going to bend the knee and everyone's going to be professionals and a one-night stand and that's it. See you. You know?
And another thing is that Sting and AEW didn't think that was going to happen, but it happened.
Nobody did. Yeah.
And
Surprise Cody, surprise Arn Anderson.
yes, it did.
Surprise Taz.
And And Arn Anderson and Sting have a whole history. And what else?
It made Tony Schiavone happy.
Yes, it did.
It's Sting.
It was good to hear Tony Schiavone say that again. It's Sting.
Yeah.
And I hope, now that he's retired, I hope TNA has him make a few appearances, because Sting had a really good TNA career.
Yeah.
4-time world champion. A former tag champion. Come on now. Sting had a really great career in TNA.
Yeah, I saw on WrestleCon, he's scheduled for a WrestleCon meet and greet at the WrestleMania WrestleCon.
And my
he's gonna get. I guarantee it, Miguel. He's gonna have a long line.
Yes, he
If
will.
Goldberg and Flair and Bret Hart had a long line, Sting's gonna have a long line at that Philadelphia hotel.
Right, and the store that brought in Tatanka, where I met Tatanka, they made some. They said they're trying to get Sting, and when they do get him, I need him to sign that WCW World Heavyweight title behind me, and probably hopefully sign this.
Oh yeah.
This
I think
TNA.
it's guaranteed because you know what? Sting knows the Florida, the Miami area, the Florida commute very well.
Well, he knows
worked there, he trained there.
Yeah. He knows the Orlando area really well because, TNA and WCW, they would always go to Orlando. And he knows the Orlando area really well, but Orlando's far away from me. And you see Sting on the cover right here?
Yeah.
On this TNA Impact. Or should I let them sign this too?
That too?
Yeah. But I definitely gotta let him sign the belt.
All the merchandise that I have from Sting, I'm saving it as soon as he comes to LA.
And this too?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much he's charging, but he's worth my hard-earned money.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's like me.
And going into this DVD,
It's like
Jose, I didn't watch his NWA, UWF because those were too old for me. I didn't start watching it until the Ron Simmons match.
Oh, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
I did see the one with the Great Muta. Him and Great Muta had a great feud. And
Oh yeah.
I did see the 1990 Bash at the Beach when him and Flair fought. And I saw the Dutch Mantel match. I did see the Clash of the Champions with Nikita Koloff. And I liked that New Japan match where him and the Great Muta teamed up against the Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
And I did see
That was a good match.
And I did see the WCW Worldwide where the bounty match that he had with Vader. Sting actually beat Vader in that match. And then I saw this 8-man tag. It was Dangerous Alliance versus Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Barry Windham, and Sting. And they put WCW Saturday Night when Sting fought Diamond Dallas Page. That was like a 5-minute match. And they put another one with him and Barry Horowitz at WCW Saturday Night. Decent match. And they put the one where him and Stunning Steve Austin. Was a good match. And then Nitro. Well, they put Sting versus Flair on Nitro in '95. They put Sting and Arn Anderson in Orlando on Nitro in '96 at Disney World. Here at Disney World Orlando Resort. And
Yep.
And they did a WCW Saturday Night where Sting was teaming up with the Macho Man and fought the Nasty Boys.
Yep.
And they also, and then in disc 3 was my favorite out of this whole DVD. They did Sting versus Hollywood Hogan at Starrcade. You already know how I feel about that match.
Yeah.
They did Sting and Lex Luger versus Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man. That was good. That was fun to watch. And they did Sting versus Kevin Nash. They did Sting versus Scott Steiner on WCW Thunder. And they did Sting and Kevin Nash versus Harlem Heat. And they actually beat Harlem Heat for the World Tag Team titles. And seeing Sting and Warrior together on WCW Nitro, because remember they were the Freedom Fighters in the Tennessee territory.
Yeah.
They reunited right there
Orleans.
against Bret Hart and Hollywood Hogan. And then Sting and Brett fought on Nitro. And then Sting and the Macho Man fought in 99. And Sting fought Booker T for the WCW World title on Nitro. And then on Thunder, they had the 2 out of 3 falls match with Jeff Jarrett. And then on Thunder, they had Sting, Booker, Goldberg versus Jeff Jarrett and Chronic. And then the very last WCW show, they had to do this. Sting versus Ric Flair. Yep.
When Vince bought the company.
Yeah, that's all the matches that I've seen on this. So, yeah, so, you know, you gotta love the Stinger.
Yep. Pretty good ending.
Yeah, pretty good ending to a great career. I mean, he's been in the wrestling business all the way to his 60s.
Yeah, I gotta give Tony Khan credit. This is the only correct thing he's done. Hope he does that to any legendary person. You found out why Kevin Nash declined, and I think Kevin Nash went on the right.
Mm-hmm.
He had to do what was right because he was not out there to be rubbing any feathers with anybody. I mean, I think Triple H would have let him because, you know, he doesn't give a damn about that. But, you know, he's only sticking to his morals. Even though that, you know, Triple H is godfather from Kevin Nash's kids, you know, and Kevin Nash and Paul Levesque, you know, have a very good relation-wise and everything, so.
Right.
But, yeah, Kevin Nash did decline, and he said the reason why, you know.
Right. And what you call, I never thought that he was going to wrestle again after that Seth Rollins match at Night of Champions back in, or Clash of the Champions. It was back in 2015 when him and Seth Rollins had that match for the WWE title. And I was hoping to see Sting win the WWE title at that time, but he didn't, unfortunately. And do you
at least he apologized, I'll say that.
Yeah, do you think that he was going to win the did you think he was going to win the WWE title going into that match against Seth Rollins?
No, really.
No.
I mean, with a Vince McMahon thing, I would not probably not think. I mean, everybody wanted to become WWE to complete his career, but you know, sometimes Vince McMahon didn't have any very stable decisions that were not finalized, so he would say something, but then at the end of the day, he would change his mind. And if he were the script person that wrote a story for a month and he tears it up, and then you got 2 hours to definitely have a show, you know, Vince McMahon always had that character, you know. He would make the decision, but then he changed his mind in the last minute, so.
Right.
I think that kind of blocks Sting not to be as successful as it is, you know. I mean, he likes Sting, you know, but unfortunately Sting was not a Vince McMahon creation, you know.
No, he wasn't. And Brian, are you there?
Yep.
I don't know if you remember Clash of the Champions or Night of Champions when Sting fought Seth Rollins for the WWE champion, and that's when that was Sting's that match is where we thought that was going to be Sting's last match. Did you think Sting was going to win that match from Seth Rollins?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, you know, Sting still had a lot to give, as far as I'm concerned, you know, before his career ended. So, I mean, anytime you put Sting in a title match, you always think at some point he's a favorite to win the title match, even though it's probably not set up for him to win it. But you got to think every time that Sting's in a title match, he's set up to win because of who he is.
Mm-hmm. So, yep, and what else?
Sounds fair.
Yeah, and I never thought he was ever going to get back in the ring again. And he wrestled a few matches in
Nobody
AEW.
did, yeah.
And I did remember his first match. It was Revolution. It was him and Darby versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks inside that warehouse match where Darby did the coffin drop on Brian Cage from a few feet above the air. That was pretty awesome. And I remember the Double or Nothing match where where him and Darby fought Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that. And I mean, Sting, even in his 60s, he still put up solid matches.
Yeah. Well, it was very good because at least they did not put Sting to fight every Dynamite.
Yeah, because
or every collision or every run page. So
yeah,
the credit that I do give Tony Khan, that at least he was real careful of not to try to overbook him and not try to wear him out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was there, he would have just been pulling promos, you know, or intimidate you with the bat, you know, like he thinks he's going to hit you, but the opponents would sell it and feel intimidated. So at least they went on the right not to try to use Sting full time, because a lot of fans were concerned of Sting's taking bumps due to his aging, his safety, and many more reasons, you know.
Yeah, he didn't
We
react.
can't judge them all.
Yeah.
Everything had a reason. I couldn't even pick one, but it could have been either of those reasons, you know.
And I remember when he took his first bump in the first time in years when he got powerbombed by Brian Cage on Dynamite, and how the way he sold it, I don't think he actually sold it. I think that was a real life. Ah, shit! I haven't took this bump in a while. I think it was that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
And he apologized to him, you know. He did. I mean, Brian did apologize to him, so you know.
Yeah.
It's like all part of the work, you know. It's like, what's his name from WWE, from how do you call it, the Crawling Brutes. But he got share shot by Sean Spears last week. I saw a clip of him getting share shot by
Rich Holland?
Rich Holland, yeah. When Ty Dillinger or Sean Spears made back his NXT debut, and everybody started yelling 10, 10, 10, you know?
Yeah. And
honestly, his case, they're still blaming him that he's responsible for the Big E's injury.
Yeah,
and they don't understand that things happen.
Uh-huh.
And Big E says himself that, you know, Rich Holland has apologized. He looks out for him. He checks up on him just to make sure that there's no heat, no misinterpretations and anything, you know.
You think D'Lo Brown powerbomb Dross to get him paralyzed on purpose? Hell no. That's a lot of these dumb things don't get.
It was an accident, you know. Dross said it's cool, don't feel guilty, don't feel bad, things happen. It's almost like the Tyson Kidd and the Samoa Joe thing, you know. It's like situations happen. I know the maneuver almost killed him, but, you know, these guys at least are being apologetic to all these moves, man. I mean,
right.
It's almost like in football, you know, football's a contact sport, and anything happens, shit, you're going to get hurt by the end of the day, you know?
Right.
People just, the audience don't get that. Let me bring up one small topic as fans. I know Maxine Dupree got defeated, I think against Nia Jax or Rhea, if I don't remember, but she got defeated. Well, she's been defeated for the last couple of weeks and more. And so one of the fans decided to boo her and told her to don't come back, you know.
It's just those.
How do you feel about when fans say the opinions like that? I mean, it's okay to boo because you're booing, fine, you know. But if you're going to come up with immature words and insult them like that, that doesn't look really mature for them to say that, you know.
Yeah, it's just the dumb smart marks that do that. Like, they like to throw out of line insults, like how these AEW fans are throwing insults to O'Shea Jackson Jr. About Ice Cube's son, all because he doesn't know what AEW is. Like, come on, guys, really? You could. A lot of people don't know what AEW is. Just look at their ratings. Look at the ratings.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these smart marks don't understand.
And honestly, I don't think Maxine Dupree did not deserve to be talked like that by that idiot fan, because the guy goes, "Oh, I spend my hard money." Well, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Boo, but don't insult them. You know, it's like, damn, dude. It's unbelievable that they didn't kick the fool out, because you have people like JD from New York taking his side and other people taking his side. Like, oh my God, here we go again with these knucklehead podcasters, you know.
Hey, that fan is probably a fan of JD from New York.
That could be booty me if I'm hoping he is, then I can bash him.
Right.
You know.
And
but getting back to the subject, it is kind of immature for them to say. Did you remember the Rock's promo in SmackDown some knucklehead put a sign on the rock, but you know they had to blur it, and it says "Die Rocky Die."
Well,
you know that's immature too. Okay, you know here's the thing. It's okay to boo guys, but you don't want to wish people to die or say those kind of things. I mean, don't they know that the people are sensitive in the end of the day?
right. And it's just that with I was gonna say that yeah, I had to mute Brian because I didn't want his snoring to take up the live. It's just that
yeah, it's probably bad.
yeah, it's just that sign was old, you know. That sign, they actually used that sign on Raw. I don't know if you remember. That sign has been used before, but back in the day, they I don't think they actually mean to say Rocky die, die Rocky die. It just because back then the world isn't sensitive like it is now, and
yeah, like it is now. It's kind of like a big deal now.
Yeah, so maybe that fan wanted to maybe that fan is an Attitude Era fan. He just wanted to relive that sign. Yeah, because.
And honestly, I don't think he understood the realization what the hell's happening now comparing to the Attitude, you know?
Right. So, yeah. And then getting back to Sting, I don't know if I ever asked you this. What do you remember about his TNA run? Like, what matches, what storyline? I already told you mine.
Yeah, my matches was like the chase of the paparazzi with the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, of course. That was a very good feud, a good start. The part that did make me laugh, Miguel, was, okay, when the paparazzi chased Sting and everything, and then he starts going to Jeff Jarrett, I think he saw me. You see Sting reversing, and he goes up to him and shit. Yeah. And then he tells him, "What are you doing, man? Filming my family? Is this what you do? Do you have a life?" It's like that clip was funny when Sting caught him that that Sting was being watched on his family by the paparazzi. I don't know. That was a very good clip right there. You know.
I did.
And then Sting tells him. Yeah. Sting tells Jeff Jarrett that, you know what? Tell Jeff Jarrett that Steve Horton's gonna be there. Not Sting, Steve's gonna be there.
Yeah. And do you remember his match with Kurt Angle, Bound for Glory 2007?
Yeah. He had his good match with it. It's almost like, I think I was gonna consider that match almost like a dream match because, I mean, how many people wanted to fight with Sting?
WWF, that was a dream match.
Even Christian Cage had his opportunity to fight him. And finally, Adam Copeland met him, but he never had a match with him. But he started saying that he was a Sting fanatic in the past, you know.
Even
but
AJ
he had the privilege of meeting Sting. Yeah. He teamed up with him, I think in a Collision or in a Rampage. I don't remember. But there was a team up with Adam Copeland and Sting or something.
Yeah,
and Darby Allin.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I remember that, and also
it was a Collision or Rampage, if I remember. I don't think it was a Dynamite.
Yeah, it was probably Collision.
Possible Collision.
And I also remember when Sting got teamed up with CM Punk, and they had the face paint of the CM Punk logo with Darby Allin. I remember that as well. I'm pretty sure it was cool for CM Punk that he got to team with Sting. And another thing I can remember from Sting was, you remember Bound for Glory 2008? It was him and Samoa Joe for the TNA World Champion.
Yeah.
And
he did put Samoa Joe over.
Yeah. And he
put Samoa over, too.
Yeah, and he also he won that match from Samoa Joe. And then I remember he lost the belt to I remember that he lost the belt to Mick Foley at Lockdown 2009.
Oh yeah.
I had mixed feelings about Mick Foley's TNA run.
Well, do you know why Mick Foley wanted to challenge Sting? Because he wanted to try to persuade him to go to WWE. So supposedly they were thinking that they send Mick Foley to tell Sting, "Hey, go to WWE," you know. But honestly, that tried to be like a Sting versus a Cactus Jack WCW event. Which honestly, that was the last time Sting and Mick Foley saw themselves out there.
And the most pissed off moment I ever got, was Triple H beating Sting at WrestleMania 31. I was
that match pissed me off.
Heated, bro.
I was there, man.
Yeah, you told me.
And believe me, people, People were booing at Triple H right there. Really, man. They were booing at Triple H.
But you know Triple H doesn't want to put over WCW guys. Bro, I was heated when fucking Triple H beat Sting. Cause that should have been Sting's moment, but I guess probably Sting was supposed to win the WWE champion from Seth Rollins. I think maybe that was supposed to happen. Maybe that was Triple H's way of making it up to the fans, because he knows that the fans love Sting. Hell, I like Sting more than Triple H. I think Sting is better than Triple H. Would you agree?
And honestly, it's something like Paul Roma said. Triple H is not a top tier guy like Hulk Hogan, like Ric Flair, like the Macho Man or the Ultimate Warrior. And he says it, and he means it, and he's staying to his guns. If you ever see any of the Paul Roma podcast interviews, you'll see how he talked about Paul Levesque. And it all had to do with the beef he had with him in WCW and the DVD bullshit of the Horseman reunion thing,
Right. And another thing that Triple H is world champion, but he's a world champion guy, but he's not like Hogan, Cena, and all them, like you said.
Yeah, like you said, he's not a top tier,
Yeah. I mean, Triple H is a okay wrestler, but he's not on that level like how The Rock, Austin, and all them is on. Like the top tier guy, like the main megastar, not only in wrestling, also on movies and stuff.
And this is very interesting. Do you think it's very interesting of watching Dwayne and Paul Levesque working together now? Because now you have Paul Levesque answering to Dwayne. And supposedly Dwayne has to give, the final say for whatever booking's going to happen. Do you think that's going to be like an interesting thing for these guys to work together?
Well, they were never great friends to begin with, but I don't think TKO is too concerned about WWE. I think TKO lets Triple H do whatever he wants with WWE. But if TKO decides to book wants to put this person involved in a match, if they want to do that, they'll just say, "Hey, we're going to go to WWE and we're going to do whatever the hell we want because we own majority of the company." And I don't think they worry about. I don't think TKO really worries about WWE too much because they trust Triple H. But now that The Rock is involved, maybe they're probably going to get even more to have the last say against Triple H. Now that
But now there's a speculation with Triple H that they're questioning him if he knew anything about the suspicious things that Vince McMahon did or not, Because, he worked with Vince, and he's married to a McMahon. And it's kind of one of those things that we said, dude, if you know something, say something, and who knows? I mean, it's a question mark. Nothing's confirmed. Nothing's official. Nothing's taken place. But that name rumor is being brought up until that process takes place whenever in the future happens,
Right.
And I mean, it's interesting, It's very interesting. But time will tell to see how these guys work together or not. Because, I mean, when I saw SmackDown, The Rock had almost like a 20 or 30-minute promo.
Yeah.
I mean, the promo was okay, but at least the promo that The Rock pulled, it did answer my question. But at the same time, that promo took the time of the other booking matches.
Right.
And I will say this. I was disappointed with the Naomi defeat. And people may disagree with me about this one. I'm going to give that feud one more shot. And I hope WWE did not hire Naomi back for her to lose while she was over in other organizations.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think Naomi and Tiffany could have gone for an extra 10 minutes if the situation with Tiffany, if WWE's invested in her, then you have to let those two women work together to put each other over.
Right.
It turned out to be a squash. And honestly, I was disappointed with Naomi's defeat. I don't know. It didn't look like it was too fair. But if they're going to rematch, if I see that rematch, I'm going to give it a chance to give it a story and put each other over. Because I don't want to hear this, dude. I don't want to hear, oh, she's trying to put her over. She's back home with her husband. She's back where it belongs. No. If you hire her, there's got to be a reason. You got to have something, because for her being over from another organization and then come here being treated as a joke, then I feel that the changes that WWE has, things don't change,
Well, they're probably I think that's why they're probably doing it, is just so they could get Tiffany over, because she's a new person on the roster, and they know that Naomi has already done enough for WWE, and she's been there for so many years, and I think that's the reason why they did. That's why they let Tiffany get the win, just to get Tiffany more over with the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, is there really any value in Naomi anymore?
I mean, that Naomi's a veteran now.
Right.
So, I mean, it would be fair that you would give her some creative freedom. If Naomi's saying, if you guys are invested in Tiffany, then let me work with her.
Yeah.
We'll put each other over. We'll work together,
Yeah, and I don't know, Brian. I mean, man, that's my guess of what they're trying to do, and it's just...
Yeah. I mean, in general, I'm just giving it a pass right now. But if I see it again like that, then I'm pissed and I'm saying, fuck, I give up on it,
Mm-hmm. And here's another Sting thing I wanted to talk about. I know we've been jumping back and forth with Sting and other things.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Because,
It's night. It's his night. Don't worry.
Yeah, because we just love the icon Sting. Do you remember... Oh, Brian left. Because he fell asleep.
Yeah, good night, Brian.
Yeah, because he fell asleep. That's why I had to mute him.
Yeah, well, get some rest.
Yeah. Another Sting thing I wanted to talk about. He also had a interesting feud in TNA with Mr. Anderson, and I think he beat Mr. Anderson for the belt, and he beat Mr. Anderson for the belt. I think that was his last TNA victory.
He goes, Anderson, Mr. Anderson. You remember that clip?
Yes, and
okay,
he even had.
Remember, he was gonna go with the mic.
Yeah.
He was gonna go with the mic to his entrance, and then suddenly Sting comes, and he goes, Mr. He pauses for a minute, and then you got Sting going, Anderson, woo!
And they even had Mr. Anderson. They even had Mr. Anderson dressed up like the Surfer Sting, which was kind of funny.
That was funny, man.
Yeah, and he actually had a good feud of Aces and Eights. I remember one time Aces and Eights kidnapped both Hogan and Sting, and him and Bully Ray had a match at Slammiversary for the TNA World Title. That match was brutal. That match was awesome.
And I think that match that put Sting over when they end up proposing the open fight night every week. Yeah. And the open fight night was Aces and Eights,
Yeah.
But then that didn't last. That promo did not last too long when they end up doing open fight night.
Mm-hmm. And another Sting topic. I never thought he was gonna go to WWE, and I kind of wish he never went to WWE.
I didn't want him either. I thought he was gonna stick to his morals.
Yeah, so did I.
Even Ric Flair said in a biography, he goes, I think Sting will never come to WWE, blah, blah, blah. And I was agreeing with him, and then suddenly I see the Survivor Series, and he's making a surprise appearance, defending Team Cena,
Right.
And I asked Eric Rowan in the meet and greet at, here at the JWO, and I asked him, did you expect that Steve to make an appearance at the Survivor Series? And first everybody was shaking their head. I meant Sting. Oh. That's his real name, Steve.
Yeah, Steve Borden. Yeah, those marks didn't know his real name. It's Steve Borden, Sting.
Yeah. So I tell him, were you guys expecting Steve to make that surprise appearance and everything? He goes, oh yeah, no, nobody told me about it. They just told me to represent Team Cena and everything. There was another thing too. It was another question when I asked him too. I go, so what were you expecting when Adam joined the Wyatts and when he made his debut? And I go, I meant Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam. He goes, when Adam made the appearance, he didn't know what he was doing.
Sure.
So sometimes I think they don't really get used to the real name, so you get used to the gimmicks, you know. And then if we mention the gimmicks, they'll know what they're talking about. But yeah. I think it's very rarely when you don't mention their names or something, you know.
Yeah. And it's just, and another thing I also want to. You remember his match at Halloween Havoc '98 with him and Bret Hart for the WCW US title?
Oh yeah. That was a dream match.
Yes, it was.
Sharpshooter versus Scorpion.
It's funny because both guys got it from that Japanese wrestler, Riki Choshu. So both stole it from that Japanese wrestler, so neither one of them came up with it.
And the good news about the Scorpion and the Sharpshooter, both of those maneuvers were sold by their opponents.
Yeah.
They tapped out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the good news about the Scorpion and the Sharpshooter, they really did sold it, you know.
I mean, Sting has wrestled.
But that was like a dream match.
Yeah.
My question to you about Sting and Bret Hart, was that the only match that we had?
No, they had a few.
There wasn't another one, right?
They had a few matches on Nitro, and their match on Nitro is actually on the DVD.
Were there like dark matches, you think, or what?
No, they were televised live WCW Monday Nitro matches.
I gotta look into that then, because I thought they only had that one match, and then I remember I saw a dark match when I went to a WCW event in the LA Forum, and it was Sting versus Bret Hart, but when Sting had the white face, he didn't have the Wolfpack red face, and Sting defeated Bret Hart at the LA Forum. That was the last time I saw it, but that was just a dark match when I saw it over there at WCW. When WCW made their appearance to come to LA for the first time.
Right, and
so
they actually the match on Nitro. The match on Nitro is actually in this DVD, so I recommend you look at that. And
yeah, I'm gonna look at that all over again.
Yeah, and remember his match with Diamond Dallas Page on Nitro? That was a banger. When him and Diamond Dallas Page.
Match with. Oh yeah, he put him over. He put DDP over, dude. Even though that DDP's a lot older than Sting, he really did put DDP over.
Yes, he did. And I also remember on Nitro, remember the red NWO Wolfpack Sting? He fought Goldberg for the WCW World Title. That was a great match too.
He even put Goldberg to work, dude.
Yeah, he
because
did.
he did not want to have he didn't want to have like a 3-minute fight with him. He wanted to fight with Goldberg right there. He wanted to put him fight and shit, you know.
And I saw all these matches on these WCW Monday Nitro DVDs.
Yep.
And I also remember
Volume 2. Or like DDP would say, Volume Dose.
Yeah, Volume 2.
And then after Volume 2, and then when Volume 2 ended, DDP goes, there might be a Nitro Volume 3, but I'm going to have to leave it up to you, the WWE Universe. He goes,
yeah, and I was happy that we got the whole... I'm happy that we got more of these volume DVDs, which I'm...
Because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to say, you know.
Yes.
But at least, you know, they did respond to the fans about that.
Yeah, and I did see the one with him and Ric Flair for the United States Champion on Nitro. And I did see the one with him and... let me see what else is in this DVD. Let's see here. Oh, I remember this one. It was Hogan and Kevin Nash versus Scott Hall, the NWO, versus Sting, the Giant, and Randy Savage. And I think this was the Giant's last appearance before he went. No, wait, never mind. No, it wasn't. Or maybe it was. I think it was his last appearance before he went to WCW, and that's when he had that neck. That's when he had that neck injury. Yeah. And what you call?
Yeah, when
that was
a.
Yeah, that was a solid 6-man tag, and that match with him and DDP on Nitro was awesome. And
he was tag team champions with Paul White. Big shit. The Giant.
Wait, he won tag team Cole with Paul White?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he was the Giant, yeah.
And I also remember this one.
Should be there.
It was Sting and Hulk Hogan and Goldberg versus Kevin Nash, Rick Steiner, and Psycho Sid. Bro, that's when Hulkamania came back, and the fans were going nuts when that red and yellow Hogan was coming back. So I remember that one pretty
Russo,
well.
I think, was in charge somewhere there.
Yep, and let me see here. I do remember the. Let me see what else is on here. Damn, Volume 3 does not have a lot of Sting matches.
Yeah. 2 does.
Which is weird. Let's see. Sting versus Page on Nitro 96, but the one in 98 was better.
Yep.
And let me see here.
And before I go, because this is almost running out, and I got to go out there and vote and everything, and but it was a good topic to talk about Sting, and at least we definitely float around, but at least we kept Sting on the subject, you know.
Yeah, and Sting and Randy Savage had a great match on Nitro.
Yeah. So please don't sell your Sting merchandise, like I won't sell mine.
Not my action figures, not my freaking nothing. Like I have the WWE version right here when he was in WCW at Starrcade 97. Yeah. I have the AEW one right here, and I have the WCW Wolfpack one. This is an actual WCW figure from '98, and I also got the TNA figure.
There you go.
And he wore this at Slammiversary 2009 when he fought Matt Morgan.
Yeah.
But
so that's a good one.
Yeah, man, we love Sting.
So we'll have to so hopefully next week we get something. Hopefully I get some availability. Well, you'll text me, see what can I update you with and everything. So
yeah, we're gonna cut the air off. But all right, people. Well, thanks for joining me and Jose the Ocho. We're actually gonna talk to each other about something after this stream. So good night, people.